Hello, 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 I'm Rich Morrell. We're back for another Top Flight show. Joining me in the studio. Oh, that sounds like a little bit of a rap, this, doesn't it? Mr. Race Director.
Hello.
Oh, that cut was good. I clocked that on the camera. That was a good cut, that one.
You didn't introduce me, though?
Mate, I'm focusing on the graphics, man.
You said
give us a break.
But yeah.
Yeah, Race Director, Chrissy P. Everyone knows who you are. Everyone knows who you are.
Some people might not.
Chrissy P and the man with the red shoes. I've already been told off once about these shoes tonight, getting too close to you. Yeah, I know, bouncing around, getting too close to his little head.
They are clean enough.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
That's one of the things I have to decide before coming out. Which trainers am I going to...
Yeah.
Because I wore them white flip-flops once and got absolutely hammered for it.
Yeah, they were bad,
But they were clean, that's why I wore them, because they were brand new.
Yeah, I know. I think it would have been better off in a pair of, like, dirty wellies, because then...
Yeah. What are you replacing your trainers?
Me?
Yeah.
What, running ones or just in general?
Running ones.
Running ones? Oh, not that often. Like, maybe once every 3 or 4 months. But considering I do about 3 mile a week,
yeah, so
that's probably more often than I should.
Yeah, I guess we probably should do an update on training. How much training you actually been doing?
Zero.
You
know what? I'm struggling to run at the moment. Back's been playing up, man. I'm on the cross trainer though. Hey, put it this way. 6 o'clock this morning, man was chewing away on the cross trainer. 40 minutes, blitzed it.
Yeah, I seen you were doing some training on Instagram, so I just...
Yeah, no, so I've been having to substitute me running with a bit of cross train, then I go in and just,
on the, like, elliptical one?
Nah, fling a few weights about, like, not that you can tell the size of that.
I tell you what, on the weights thing, sidetrack here, but I follow this guy and I watch the videos every time, even though it's the same thing. He's called Anthony. Anyway, he pretends he's, like, using a mop.
Right.
And the mop's actually like a 40k.
Oh, right.
And he like tries to give these massive guys some like tips.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh yeah, I'm the janitor. Like, I'm just the cleaner, but your technique's good.
He's got a
and they're like, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Yeah, they give him a bit of stick. And he's like, oh, well, can I just have a go? I need to clean under this. And he goes and he just like lifts these massive weights and just walks. Oh, helicopter. And he just starts spinning around and mugs them off. It's the same thing every time, but it's funny. I just watch it. I'm going to start saying,
I would say I'm not that strong, and no one would care what I'm saying in the gym.
Speak for yourself, mate. So you've been doing a bit of training.
Yeah, I've been doing a bit. Yeah, been doing a bit.
Yeah, no. The reason I asked about the trainers is because I did a session on Saturday on the track, and I've got the new. I've got the Puma Carbons.
Yeah.
So I wore them on the track. It definitely helps me to wear carbons on the tracks to not have tight calves.
Yeah.
So I then put my trainers back on and I was like, oh, these actually, the cushion's actually gone. I know I'd gone from carbons back to normal trainers, but when I looked at the bottom, the treads, and I was like, oh, I've been cornering these and I've just finished playing for them. I've got to buy a new pair.
What Puma carbons you're in?
I can't remember.
Oh, the Fast R3s, have you seen them?
Are they the...
No, they're the proper,
not them ones.
So they are an insane shoe.
Right.
I've watched a few like reviews on them and like some like labs testing that they've done on them in certain athletes, and they're taking like 3% like in terms of time off like an athlete over a marathon, for instance.
Wow.
So they've done it with a guy who's ran 2:29 for a marathon. And they said if he'd ran the same race on the same day in the Fast R3, the Pumas, he would have ran 2:25. So literally just by the shoe. They're legal. I think they're legal, actually. Don't quote me on that, mate.
I feel like there's some shoes coming out now that are like concept and not legal, and then I'm thinking, what's the point?
Yeah.
But no, I got these Puma ones because our mates who, shout out to the lads from the Northeast who pushed Drew Graham in the wheelchair, the Great Northman, Ryan McLeod,
Matty Nicholson,
Swinney,
Nick
Johnny
Hooker
Cram,
was in there as well.
Sorry if I missed anybody out there, but they had these trainers from Puma, and I was sick of paying for the Vaporflies because they cost so much money and they're really flimsy. Like I got the Vaporfly 3s and a hole just appeared on them after I'd only wore them a couple of times. Like a chunk of the foam fell out. So I was like, I'm not paying another however much it costs for them. So these ones, I'll make Carl Smith, shout out Carl, sorted me out some of the Pumas on a bit of a discount from Star Fitness. So cheers, Carl. And yeah, they're really good. So anyway, I was wearing them and then and I was just annoyed today. I'm like, not only are the trainers dirty, obviously you can wash them, but the tread just starts to go so quickly with trainers these days.
Yeah. But anyway, enough about our trainers. I feel like we need to dive into this one.
Though.
Yes, it does, yeah. You're moving. We need to dive into this one because I reckon we could chew on for hours, right? We're going to do some, like, concept style clash of the eras type fantasy races. Me and Chris have put our heads together and we've came up with 3 races that we think would be interesting talking points. One I've already sort of covered and we've had a good bit of chat about. So we've got 3 races that we're going to go over.
We can get people to comment. And
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the idea
you are allowed to disagree with us.
Yeah, 100%. Get in the comments. Get in the inboxes to me and Christy, or come to us on Instagram, start giving us grief if you don't agree with what we're saying.
Or give us some new battles that we can...
Yeah, any ideas that you guys have got. This is about, interacting and engaging with you guys as well. So, yeah, feel free to chip an opinion away or propose any future fantasy matchups. Because I feel like we could make this a regular slot, actually, because there's so many to come up with. But we're going to dive straight in. Right, we're going to go 1,500 metre showdown, Clash of the Titans, Clash of the Eras, when fast meets the past.
Go on then.
Steve Cram versus Josh Kerr, 1,500 metres. One thing I will say is that both these athletes have got the benefits of wearing carbon spikes. We can take it in a pacemaker race setting with wave-like technology. We're essentially saying Crammy can be competing now against Kerr with all the perks of all the nutritional advances, little supplements that athletes might take before races, all perfectly legal, might I add, to improve performance, like the lactic acid buffers and things like that. So, Pazzi, I've already got my thoughts on this, mate. So, give me a little bit of where your headspace is at with this Cram versus Kerr. Should we do it as in a pacemaker race or a championship race? Because I do think that alters things slightly.
Yeah. Although Kerr's also ran fast in effectively a pacemaker race in the championships.
Yeah.
I think what is interesting, although when you're saying comparing eras, I know these, like Kerr and Cram, for example, are still quite close in times. But if you were to and I've mentioned this on podcasts in the past, if you were to compare era on era against any era, then the best in the world of that time would always be the best in the world. So we're talking about fine margins here, because Roger Bannister would have still, Elgar Rouge said Roger Bannister would have still been up there and one of the ones to beat. So I think anybody who was right up there at the time, they would always be right up there because they just rise to whatever's necessary to do. So, I
don't know about that.
Well, there's obviously some element. There's some
I agree with that. I think I get the point of, like, to be the best in the world or the best athlete at that time, you've got to beat everyone out there. And that is not an easy feat, because regardless of whether they're running 350 for a mile, 345, 359 for a mile, you're still beating everybody else at that time. And I think I watched a talk that Crammy done, and he reiterated that point, that it almost doesn't matter as long as you were the best at that point, because you can say, I was the best at that point and the best that there ever was at that point. Yes, it moves on and then someone else takes that mantle. But I don't know whether some athletes, I don't know whether Bannister, with technological advances and training and things like that, would he have been able to run 3:27?
Well, maybe not. But the converse, though, is if you took Kerr and Cram and sent them to 1954, would they have been able to beat Bannister?
Nah, Crammy would have, man. But anyway, we're going off track here. So, Cram versus Kerr, what are we saying? Are we thinking of taking it, and why?
I'm going to stick local. Not just because it's local, but I think Crammy would win it. I think he had everything at his best. So, he's ran, although he was probably more known as favoured 1,500 and up style-wise, because he had the long stride.
Yeah.
He did run a 142.
Yeah, 142, 800.
Yeah. And he was an exceptional racer, and he could get to the front and run away from people. So he didn't need the pacemakers to be able to, it wasn't in the same way of Jakob. He didn't need the pacemakers. He didn't need it to be hard to feel like he could win. He could, it was an era where there was a lot more emphasis on racing.
Yeah.
There was, less of the highly rated races.
Yeah.
But he won everything. And he had that spell where, Cram's best spell was better than Kerr's best spell. He had 41 days, I think it was, where he ran a world record at 1500, 1K, a mile, and 2K. I could got that slightly wrong, but it was a
1500 mile, and was it not a 2K?
2K,
yeah,
a short space of time. Did he not run? Oh, did he miss the 1K record? It was incredibly close. I think I guess maybe.
No, he did. He missed the 1K. He missed the 1K at Gateshead, and he was. I always remember I don't always remember because I wasn't there at the time, but I remember the chat around the race was that the weather was terrible, and they had it penciled in for 7 o'clock, and they had all the ITV and Channel 4, I think, were broadcasting it. And it was key that one of the broadcasters was getting that race, Crammy's world record attempt. And what happened is Crammy got on the phone and was like, the wind's dropping at 9 o'clock. Can we run the K at 9 o'clock? So the broadcaster that had lumped the money in for it got sort of shortchanged because Crammy was like, well, can we do it at 9? And they were like, yeah, we'll move it. And they moved it later on. And I think he did. I think he missed it just.
It was very, very slightly outside. But that was, obviously that's a purple patch. But that's, so world champion.
Yeah. Very
1983, and it was every 4 years at the point.
Yes, it was. Him and Kerr on paper medal-wise aren't a million miles away from each other. You think they've both got silvers at the Olympics. They're both world champions. I think Crammy's cleaned up on the Commonwealth scene a bit more, but then I think Kerr's time will come for that kind of competition. And has Kerr got a Europeans to his name?
I should have probably researched this more, but I don't think so. But I think the world record side of it just edges it for Crammy for me.
I think Crammy
and that various
Crammy full floor as well looked insane. Like some of the old races I've watched from the years of him in full flight down that back straight. It's it's a thing of magnificence.
Yeah, and he did have a few injuries like this. There was the infamous Coke can. He stood in the Coke can, putting his ankle in. That was before that silver medal at the Olympics. So it's everybody could have, would have, should have, because Josh Kerr could have won this one if he hadn't picked up that injury in the semi-final, right? Yeah. So, there's always an element of injuries in there, but for me, Cram dominated for a significant period of time, and Kerr hasn't quite done that yet. So I think there's time for him to, but he hasn't quite yet.
Yeah, that's the key thing as well. And I think that point will get laboured in a few of the other matchups as well. We're taking athletes currently that they haven't finished their careers. They're still going. They're still progressing. I do think in championship races, I think Kerr's NCAA apprenticeship almost tactically Kerr's he's a great tactician when it comes to under 1500s. It's rare you see him get in positions where you're like, he needs to get out this box here. He's always seems to run sound. So I think if Kerr was ever going to, get the nod on Crammy and, get in front of him, I think it would likely be in the championship setting. I think in a pacemaker race, flat out, I think Crammy runs away from him. I did chat GPT what they thought Crammy had run for 1500, given all the advances in shoe tech. And it was 321.5, 324
fast
to 324. They put it in that range. So I was then posing the question, do we think that Crammy would, if Crammy was in carbons now, would he run 320?
Yeah, you've got things like the Dream Mile performances from Crammy as well, which were just absolutely sensational. That none of the current crop have really done.
Yeah.
But no, I think he would run 334. I think El Garouge would run faster again, wouldn't he? Because he ran so many times the 26.00, so he was already nearly 25 anyway. So
yeah,
I think he would wipe out that world record.
Yeah. Right, next up we'll go to the 800 metres and we'll go to the ladies and we'll go to two athletes. So when I was looking at this earlier, they've got the same initials, which I thought was pretty odd, and they both race over 800 metres, and they're both Olympic champions. So we're going to go Kelly Holmes versus Keely Hodgkinson over 800.
Over 800, I think Keely has shown that dominance So I think Keely would. Obviously Kelly Holmes in the end won the Olympics at the 8 and the 15 in Athens.
Yeah.
But her career was a career of she was nearly there, but she wasn't. She had lots of injuries and continued to battle and come back, but she was never quite there because you had Maria Matola, especially, who was dominant.
Yeah.
Whereas Keely, on the flip side of that, at 800 was or has been dominant for a period of time now. She had the Athen Mu battle.
Yeah.
But she's had a few years now where she's cleared up. Now, in fairness, after the Olympics, Kelly Holmes effectively had a victory lap for about a year and a half where she was pretty much unbeatable. There were non-paced races though, but if you remember Kelly Holmes, she just kept winning. She hit this streak where it was as if the glass ceiling had been broken. She just kept like winning and winning and winning, but it was more tactical. And I think in terms of sheer pace, Keely be faster. However, so more of a comparison, which I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, is actually the way that they run. Georgia Bell runs more like Kelly Holmes tactically.
Yeah,
and
I'd agree.
I remember in Athens when Kelly did get that 800 win, the 1500 was like, it was as if it was inevitable because that glass ceiling had been broken, where she'd been so close so many times, but not quite there because she was always coming back from some sort of injury, or that she'd got an injury in the heats or the semis and was battling her way through. And there was a few, of the era Russian. There was like Svetlana Masakova, wasn't there? And the 1500 and Tomashova, a few others.
Yolanda Cheplak of the 800 as well.
Yeah. But I mean, in particular, Maria Matola was just absolutely dominant for a long period of time. Yeah. And then it was Kelly was just coming and coming. She just got it, didn't she? And then, you can still remember it as if it was yesterday.
Yeah. I do remember
20 years ago now.
Yeah,
that was sensational. But I think out and out at 800, if the question is out and out at 800, then Keely's a better 800.
Yeah, I think so. I'd agree with that as well. I think with Keely, the things that strike me about Keely is, one, her basic speed is phenomenal. She's a 51.7-ish over 400, which is insanely quick for an 800 meter runner. So I can only imagine what she's going to get down to over 800 eventually. Keely's only 23 as well. So she's still very early on in her career, actually. I think the scope of where Keely can go with it.
I think as it stands, though, if the question was 15, I think Holmes would batter it. I think if they were doubling up, Keely would win the 8, and then Holmes would run away from it in the 15.
Yeah.
Or you could have, what would be amazing if that played out like the Cornervet, and then they won the wrong event.
Yeah, won it the wrong way around.
Yeah. Which could happen.
Yeah. Right, matchup number 3. This one's a bit of an odd one. We're going to go Usain Bolt versus Mo Farah.
The distance is going to be key here. If it's 600, it's Farah.
It is 600.
It's Farah.
You think Farah?
Yeah.
Why?
Because sprinters gas out. But I remember this was talked about at the time where, they had the same agent, and could they have a match up at 600, and Bolt said, he actually does some 600s in his training. The distance running compared to sprinting is such a different sport.
Mate, I get that.
And it translates on the way down. It doesn't.
And you know what? I'm not saying I disagree with you, because I think if I had to put money on it, I'd probably nudge Farah, but just when you were so brazen with it, Farah, I thought, now we'll have to dig her back here. What do you reckon though? 500 Bolt would wipe the floor with Farah.
I don't know about wipe the floor.
He would, man.
Right, so Bolt has definitely ran a 45.
Yes.
Right. But what's Farah going to run for 400 at his best when he's running 3:28 for 1500?
49.
Run faster than 49 for 400.
I don't know whether he would. Because he's running 3:28. He was strong as an ox, mate. You reckon Farah's running 48 point?
Yeah.
And even if he is right, Farah's flat out running 48 point. Right, I'll give you 48.5. I'll meet you 48.5. Farah's flat out running 48.5. Bolt's cruising through in 46 and a half.
He's not cruising through though. I think that's the.
No, but all right. Well,
I think
also
where people think that there would be. I think
so. He's not cruising through, but he's going through in 46.5. Bolt's going to hang on. Bolt's got 2 seconds on him with 100 to go, and he's still got a bit in the tank.
And he'll be swimming. Look at how badly people swim.
Bolt is renowned for his endurance, mate. I'm busting your head there. But
no,
I think 500 metres, 500 metres, you think Farah would take Bolt?
No, 500 metres, I think Bolt. I think 500.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think
600, it's back to the distance, boys.
So where do you think Farah gets him? On the back straight, 50 to go.
Yeah, I think it's coming up towards the finish, but it's like 500. Bolt absolutely swim, because the thing is, he's not going to get that 2 seconds, because you're not going to run with.
No, that was when I was on about that.
Get a big gap.
I was on about the 500. Yeah. I was on about the 500.
So in the 500, you're still going to race judging yourself over that distance. Just Farah's not going to have, let's say 600, which was the actual question. 600, he's not going to actually have it in him to go out too hard.
Yeah.
Because you haven't got the ability to go that fast and to build up that amount of lactic. Whereas Bolt can, and even though, inverted commas, he'd be cruising, he'd be comfortable at that, he actually wouldn't, because you'd still be putting that lactic in. It would feel like less of an effort or more cruise control than running a gung-ho 400, where you go out in like 20.21 and hang on and die.
Yeah.
But at best, he's going to go out in 22, 23. He's then going to go through 400 in like 47.
Yeah, I would think Bolt over 600, he'd have to go through in 47.
Die. Just look at how badly people die up in a 400 or a 4x4. Sorry, a 400 hurdles, if they get it wrong by going out too hard.
So he goes through in 47-ish. We think Farah goes through in what, 50 point?
No, I think Bolt would go through in like 48, 49, 50 anyway. But I don't think his tactic would be, I'm just going to get such a big lead that I'm going to hang on.
Right.
Because you're going to run it knowing that you're running for 600, not like, I'm going to go at 400 and then hang on. So he's going to go more cautiously, which actually, if he did just went out as hard as he possibly could, Farah would come past him at 500.
Yeah, but I'm thinking,
he's going to judge it on a 600.
I would think if I was coaching Bolt, I'd be saying hit the 400 at 48, and then seriously, what happened?
You're going to have no end.
Cling on for dear life, mate. That's what I'd be saying.
Yeah.
But I think Farah would have to go through. Farah would probably be going through in 50 points high, I reckon. And so he'd have Bolt would have 2.5 seconds on him. Yeah, Farah would soon chew that up over the last 200. But 500 though, 500 should have been the distance, shouldn't it?
500 would be Bolt. 600 would be Farah. It would have been great to see it play out. We've seen it where they've done these challenges indoors recently, where they had the 400 hurdlers against some of the 800 runners at 600.
Yeah.
But it's like a different time of season. I think the 400 hurdlers are a lot stronger. So I think it might have been Di Green.
Remember Maurice Green and Michael Johnson?
150.
Yeah.
I mean, that was unfortunate because MJ got injured, didn't he? But that would have been an interesting one.
Yeah.
But really, them distances are too close. Your fantasy matchups are the ones over, your much longer endurance guys against your sprinters, and where did that fight? But yeah, it's the whole they'd be cruising, so they'd have so much in the tank, it just doesn't work out like that.
I feel like we've got a fertile ground to discuss these more, these fantasy matchups.
If people
definitely.
Can tell us what.
Yeah, so any that you want us to go over and do to death and debate over, please do drop them into the comments. So I think we'll wrap this one up, Parsi, before we come to blows over Farah and Bolt over 500 or 600 metres. So thanks for joining us on another Top Flight pod. If you've enjoyed this, please drop a subscribe onto the YouTube channel, give the show a like, give it a share, get in the comments and give us your ideas of what you want us doing going forward for these fantasy matchups. So from me, Rich Morrell and Chris Parr in the studio, ciao.